Hey guys, I just got back from finally seeing Dune Part Two. Um, I would make the joke that I saw the movie at the earliest time because I got work tomorrow, like really early in the morning, and I picked the earliest show time to go see this, which meant there was barely anybody in there. So I hope isn't a sign of things to come for the box office, which I don't think it will be because it's 11 a.m. I was gonna make the joke, well. Fuck it. I got there boost I got there 11 a.m. and now it's like 5 p.m. It's really almost 4 o'clock. I did some stuff afterwards, but I want to get on a rant before I get into the movie for something. Before I get into the actual fucking movie, I want to get. This is not about the actual movie itself. I want to talk about movie theaters for a fucking second. I don't know if anybody else's movie theaters are doing this, but this is becoming a recurring thing over the last year, especially the last few months. My theater, for some fucking reason, has to play in front of every movie nearly 30 minutes. I counted for this one 30 minutes of commercials and previews uninterrupted. And no matter what kind of movie it is, they do this. It's fucking annoying. I think only a couple times during kids' movies or lesser known movies do I get maybe 15 minutes of previews, and I'm lucky. This is getting ridiculous, dude. Like, currently, the state of movies and movie theaters in general is in a fucking complete disarray. Like, movie theaters are doing horribly. The movie theater, the movie theater was doing horribly ever since the pandemic. Even really before that, they were. And then you got the fucking movie industry in a fucking in a disaster too. Is a disaster too because it seems like every week there's a new box office record set for the lowest opening of all time or something. I swear to God, every goddamn weekend it seems like it happens. I'm keeping track. So it's like the theater and the movie industry are set in their ways. They don't want to fucking make any changes, and it's getting fucking ridiculous. I'm getting tired of it. And then they do this 30-minute previews and commercials in front of a 3 hour, almost a near 3 hour fucking movie. Like, dude, I don't want to sit and set my whole day around a fucking movie because the movie theater doesn't know when to not play 500 trailers or commercials and sometimes they play the exact same commercials all the goddamn time. It's drives me nuts. I know I'm fucking ranting about this and you want to fast forward and get my actual review, but it's I'm pissed about it. Dude, get your shit together. I'm annoyed with movie theaters nowadays. Now let's talk about Dune Part Two. All right, let's talk about Dune Part Two. Um, as so this was a movie that I was looking forward to and not looking forward to at the same time, mainly because I know I'm in the minority when I say this. I didn't hear that much for the first one. I didn't. I know people love it. I know it's based off a very popular source material. I never read the books, or anybody gets on me, asks me, no, I've never read the books. No, I've never seen the David Lynch movie. I know of the David Lynch movie, but I've heard it's bad, and I've heard it's got a cult following also at the same time. And I saw the first one going in with an open mind, and I don't know. I just was kind of almost bored to tears for the most part. It felt like the first. If when I saw this movie, the first movie, I felt like when I first saw the first Lord of the Rings. I've never really told that story. Maybe one day I will. I don't want to keep going on and on about different things. And want to actually talk about the movie, but I went in with something like Lord of the Rings completely blind, and I went with something with Dune completely blind, and I could not get into either one of them. And I was seemed to be in the minority about it. But I was like, I mean, visually, from a filmmaking standpoint, I appreciated them. Visually, from a visual standpoint, especially Dune, it was fucking breathtaking. But I just couldn't get into it. So this one, I was hesitant. I know it was getting good reviews. It's from the director, Denis Villeneuve. I don't know how to say his name. I'm trying to probably butcher it. He's a really good director, and I really enjoy his movies. Most of his damn movies, especially stuff like Prisoners, Arrival, Sicario. I really liked the Blade Runner sequel he did. Um, and I don't know what it is about this director, but like it seems like he is able to make sequels to really good sequels to movies I'm not a big fan of. Their previous like previous movies, because honestly, I really enjoyed the fuck out of this movie. I really, really did. I honestly, really, really did. I really, I completely turned a whole 180 after watching this movie on this franchise. Complete 180. I really enjoyed the hell out of Dune Part Two, man. This was really good. Like, I don't know if it also helps that this I've seen nothing but garbage over the last month or 2 months, and especially the last couple of weeks. I've sat for shit like Argyle, Night Swim, uh, goddamn Madam Web. And I sat for disappointments like Bob Marley and stuff like that. And then I get shit like this, and I'm like, man, this is why I love going to the movie theaters. Like, I wish I would have seen this. I had a chance maybe to see it in IMAX. I didn't get to see it in IMAX. I fucking love this. I bet you this movie's even better in IMAX. Probably should have just topped up the $7 I could have for the IMAX, but I would have had to drive like an hour and a half away. But it might have been worth it. But I really fucking dug the hell out of this movie. This is like why like the cinemas are where why we need cinemas for movies like this to be seen on a big screen in a surround sound system. Because goddamn, this movie from the visuals, I can't talk enough about the visuals. How visually stunning this movie is. I fucking like just sat in awe of this goddamn thing throughout, like from the opening scene like to their creative use of the black and white, the whole complete black and white scene where it's like a black sun or something like that. They excuse so everything's in black and white. And they gave a reason because of the sun or something like that. Uh, and it was really fucking creative, and really cool looking to see Gerard, or not Gerard Butler, but Austin Butler, where he's in like a fucking gladiator arena. That was fucking cool. Like this movie is just goddamn breathtaking. Like it's like and for visual effects, everything like it's just damn good. The acting is pretty good. Although one of my biggest complaints about the first one was that Timothée Chalamet was the weakest part of the movie, the first movie, I thought. And that sucked because he was surrounded by a lot of great characters that weren't him. Like, and it still has that problem, kind of. But I kind of like grown to like his character a little bit more. Although by the end of it, he is kind of like I was forewarned, like with the books that becomes kind of like a douchebag, and kind of by the end of it, he kind of is. But you kind of understand his like why he does what he does towards the end, somewhat. Um, like the thing I hated about the first one is like I'll say this is like it just abruptly ends, and I did not know it was going to be a two-parter. I knew if the Lord of the Rings it was going to be 3 parts. But I didn't know this was good. Like when I saw the first one, it was going to be a two-parter. And then when the movie first one just abruptly ended, I was like, "Fuck!" Like, and that even pissed me off even more because I'm like, this is pretty ballsy to make a fucking movie based off of a very popular sci-fi novel. I know it's a very popular source material, but it's also based is a second attempt at making a theatrical film, where the first attempt was a huge box office bomb, like legendary. Like, like this takes balls that you're thinking you're gonna make a second one, which luckily they did. So it didn't pay off. Like I was, and also the first one came out during that weird period of time where it was still COVID was really the pandemic was still a damn thing, and also Warner Brothers was releasing the movies like Dune and like everything that they were releasing that year on HBO Max, and a lot of people were just sitting at home watching HBO Max. This was the one I refused to sit and watch on a small screen or on my phone. There's no way you can fucking watch this like these kinds of movies on your phone and get the full experience. So yeah, like this one, I will say this: I do appreciate the hell that they conclude the story pretty much like this version of the story very well, and they did their job. I can see why people say that this is like unfilmable because there's so much shit going on in this fucking in this like story. It's like it's hard to like dense it down into like a 2 hour movie. Like there's no way. Like I don't know. I'm not watching David Lynch movie. Now I'm kind of curious how bad he butcher it. Um, so but yeah, like I like there's so many characters. There's so many like it was also nice. Like I really appreciate the acting also in this movie. Like I said, like it was nice seeing like Christopher Walken in a kind of serious role again. Like it was very barely in it, but he is really good in it. Like in the short scenes he's in, it reminds you like God damn, it, Christopher Walken is a good actor. It was awesome seeing Dave Bautista. You're like I've said this a million times. Dave Bautista, like the career he's had so far has been amazing to me, man. Like he started off like as this wrestler that like decided to go into movies and has had a hell of a career in movies. He's been a fucking very versatile actor. Like I've said, he's a better actor than he ever was a wrestler. And I liked him as a wrestler. Um, Austin Butler, holy shit. That was a fun. This was an all-time great performance by Austin Butler. Like for the guy that mainly know as the guy who played Elvis, this is a really goddamn great, creepy ass performance he pulls off. Like he's almost unrecognizable. Like they like had no eyebrows, completely bald headed. You can tell when he starts talking. You can look at his facial features a little bit more, but it's almost unrecognizable at the same time. Like it's pretty fucking. He does a fucking creepy ass job. Like when I'm sure this will get Oscar nominations. This movie will when next year's Oscars happen. I wouldn't be surprised if Austin Butler way more than like somebody like Timothée Chalamet. Like I said, and like honestly, like I said, it does have that same problem where it's like like I said, his character is it did grow on me a lot more in this movie. I like Rebecca Ferguson too in this movie. She's like the turn that she does in this movie is like fucking crazy as hell. This movie, okay, what I really loved about this movie more than anything was that again, I don't know the source material. So when they start pulling some weird ass shit in this movie, because this movie goes some weird ass fucking places. Like from the fucking very first scene, this movie goes some weird ass places. And like I was like, what? Like when at the very beginning, I thought I was losing my mind. And they serve like an unborn fetus. And Timothée Chalamet is talking to an unborn fetus that is his sister, who I think at the very end towards the end of the movie, during like a flash of the future, is supposed to be Anna Taylor-Joy. Okay, and she becomes like this unborn fetus who's in Rebecca Ferguson's stomach becomes a main character in this thing. And like it's making like is the catalyst for like very important distinctions of like what the hell am I watching? But also at the same time like kind of getting into it. Like I love that this movie is embracing the craziness of it. It is of the source material, which I've heard the source material is insane, and just going with it. That's things balls, and I appreciate the fuck out of it. Like between that, like the hell, the fuck. There's other things I remember. I don't want to spoil it. In the beginning, where they're taking water out of dead bodies and making it into like this elixir of life or some shit like that, putting it in a pool of water, which is water that's extracted from people. And like, fucking disgusting. It's as disgusting as it sounds. And I was like, what the hell is this movie? I was like, from that point forward, I'm like, all right, this movie's just going for it. I appreciate it, man. Like, and I know this is like based. It's not in the source material. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. I'm sure it was in the books, but I appreciate it. And I went for the ride for it, and like I said, the action set piece is also really great. There's so much goddamn like things about this movie I could say that I loved about it. And like I said, I highly recommend it. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it either. I don't want to spoil any major plot points either. Um, it does set up. I will say this: like I heard he wants to make another one of the Dune books, and honestly, by the end of the movie, while it does wrap up the main story that was told from the first one, it does set up a sequel, like where what they could do for the sequels. And I'm like, I want to see more of it. I hope this does well. Uh, at this point, no one fucking can predict. I heard it's the early projections are very positive, but that doesn't even mean anything anymore. So who the fuck knows? I know IMAX will probably do really well. Um, yeah, I give it easily an A. Like, easily an A. I love this movie, man. And like, hey, I'm now a fan of the Dune series. This movie officially made me a fan of the Dune series. So it did its job. So there you go. I recommend Dune Part Two. Hell, even somebody was asking me the other day, "What's the best movie you've seen this year so far?" And I was like, "You can't even fucking name. I couldn't even name anything." I'm like, the closest. I think the only thing I came up with was Beekeeper, and when Beekeeper is the best movie you've seen so far in the last 2 months, I don't know what that says about 2024 so far. But now I can tell them those things doing part two. So yeah, I highly recommend doing part two. What's next weekend? Uh, Kung Fu Panda for which I'm looking forward to. Imaginary, which I'm looking forward to. And what's the other fucking one that's coming out? What the hell is? I know there's something else. Hold on a second. What the hell is coming out next week? I know like Kung Fu Panda for blah, blah, blah. God damn, my fucking phone. Stupid piece of shit. Uh, oh, Cabrini. That's right. Yeah, all right. But yeah, that's as far as what will come in next week. Until then, I'll talk to you guys later.